Welcome to We Think, We Talk, sponsored by Select Care Pharmacy, a pharmacy that is non-retail but that services the smallest of group homes to the largest of skilled nursing facilities, with prompt attention and care and world-class customer service. Welcome back to another episode of We Think, We Talk. Great episode today. We have our real estate specialist, John Fravel, from the Fravel Group at Keller Williams, top customer service group. And you've been on the show before when it was audio, so all the cameras and lights wasn't here. But thank you for coming back.
Yeah,
I know your schedule was tight, and but I was able to. You answered, and I got you here. But I didn't tell you about the subject, and I never do. I like to keep it fresh. But it's the subject I actually had an email about. Okay. So, and you came right up in mind, and I said, okay, we just need to get John back to answer this question, and then we'll go into more. I want to tell everybody more about your group and how it's grown. I got to see it grow. This is pretty awesome, But so we're going to talk a little bit about the world that I know and but long-term health care. Mm-hmm. We deal with that a lot. But what the email reflected, it was from a good friend of ours that's in South Carolina, and they're within a big group of long-term assisted living communities. Okay. And what they're seeing is what we predicted 10 years ago would happen. A lot of need for placement, but access to funds and money not readily available for the time because grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, whoever loved one may be, knew that they were getting older, but unfortunately an event, could be medical event, loss of a life partner event, something of that nature big has happened, mm-hmm. and it's caused placement for them to be rushed. What do we do? Well, back in the day, people had saved money, they had pensions. There are all these other factors, and to be quite honest with you, I can remember when I started, and long-term health care is expensive. Health care is expensive. You can't get around that now. Mm-hmm. But I can remember when I started, and this has been 20 years. I had residents moving in that could easily pay their bill every month off interest of money that they had saved. And to be quite honest with you, this person that wrote me this pretty long email, and I know very well, very rarely see that at all now. They just looked back and told me about the last 10 move-ins that they had. And this is a big community. And only one of the 10 had some of the money to help them come in. Some. Mm. So it brings me to what they do have is real estate. They have a house. Some have property, a lot of property. We did a show a long time ago with Dan Watson. Some do have whole life insurance policies. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Those are very valuable that families, need to be educated on. But the real estate part, mm-hmm. my reply back was that I would reach out to my guy, which would be you, and having you on the show. But it's more communities now really need to look back and see how valuable it can be to have a team such as yours. Mm-hmm. That is respectable and shows dignity to everybody. I mean, that's, I think, a huge thing in long-term care about how to turn those or their property, their home, how they can get with you. Because I'm not speaking so much now to the clients coming into the community. I'm speaking to the community, to the executive directors and all, to go ahead and reach out ahead of time. Yeah. Go ahead and make a relationship with you. Mm-hmm. Because tell us about when you get that call and this situation occurs. Yeah. What can you and your team just really start off? And besides the emotional support, I know you guys give the family. I see your reviews. Yeah, I keep track of that. But what would be a starting point for a community person to say, okay, we need to reach out because we got this situation happening now? Yeah.
Well, I know that everybody's situation is totally different. Absolutely. And everybody's got a unique situation. Yes. So. What I like to do is assess that situation mm-hmm. with them in person mm-hmm. at their house or whatever property that they have to own, and look at it and just see what's best for them. Right. I have a family I'm helping right now. Yeah. They're paying $15,000 a month. Yeah. To stay in the community they're staying in.
Right.
and we're selling their property.
Right.
They had I think they had,
not crazy.
Well, it was for two of them.
Yeah, but we see this, and that's not crazy money now.
Yeah. So they were letting me know that they were probably good for 18 months.
Right. And that's a rarity too. So.
And what happens after that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, a good starting point would be, just an appointment to come, maybe either over the phone first.
Sure.
That way I could get some questions answered that would help me make some better decisions, help them make some better decisions, and then visit the property in person. As far as people from the communities, the directors,
right.
Getting to know me, I think would be great. I'd love to take you to lunch,
sure.
Dinner, whatever, and we can get to know each other and let you know how we work. But basically, we're looking out for that client best we can. Recently, in the last couple years, ever since COVID, there has been a very hyper-aggressive movement from real estate investors, and anybody listening to this has probably gotten these phone calls. Mm-hmm. They're calling you at your house asking if they can buy your house.
Absolutely. And I get stuff in the mailbox, like literally just dropped off and said, we'll buy it today.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, well, a lot of it is very hyper-aggressive now. It's a little annoying, and they are sharks.
Yeah.
And they are trying to take advantage of people just like what we're talking about. So
No,
I would
absolutely.
tell the directors and anybody listening, please call me before you talk to them.
Absolutely. 100%.
I just had a nice lady. She was widowed. She had a double wide trailer, which was really nice. That was she had purchased for her mother to live next door to her, and it was on 1 acre. And the day I met with her in person, there was a person coming to buy that place from her for $25,000, and she was going to sell it to him.
Oh, my goodness.
I made her call that person and tell him, turn around, you're not coming on my property. I sold the property for $120,000.
Right.
And she was just getting ready to sell it for $25,000. So when people get in these positions, it's emotional, it's hard, and they're just like, I just need a little bit of money, let me get out. And you're at a high risk of being taken advantage of and losing a lot of money. And a difference between 25 and 120 for her made a real big difference.
Well, the quality of life.
Yeah.
I mean, and what I have seen personally, and why I find it so important, and even with the show of the guests that we bring in on certain topics, is in the community, when we sit down with a family, we really, for that first hour, 2, 3 hours, much like you in your business, I really feel like we become social workers. We're listening to probably very little about the subject of the client and their health and diagnosis. I mean, really, to be honest, you can read that off a page pretty quick. Yeah. But you're hearing all these little intricate webs of life. And, they want to be heard. They want you to know. And I feel like in a community, it's our job to ensure whatever quality, whether it be from the food in the community that we serve to the secondary people that we bring in, say for pest control or something else, those companies have a high standard. Mm-hmm. But we have to look further than that now too, because we have to understand complicated things such as what does long-term health care insurance, if they do have it, that paperwork, and that has to be done now every 30 days, continuum. Wow. Experts in the field, because I don't know how many hundreds I've had. Well, we have a little money, but mama owns her house. Well, years ago, there was a little more time because things weren't so expensive, and that little money that they had put away would give the family time to sort of start their own search. Mm-hmm. Now we've become sort of like, how you can go to Amazon and buy everything? When someone's in a desperate situation, in an emotional situation, and all those things are within them. So clearly, the ability to think strong in business when you're worried about your loved one's health, that's hard to do. Yeah. I have told communities, and now this is my big push for the second act, that you need to reach out with an established real estate agent or company. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and have them on your speed dial. Yeah. Have them come in and educate you, because I know you. if an executive director or a nursing director or something of a long term, and these are corporate driven now. There's not a lot of mom and pops around anymore. To have somebody like you come in and spend 30 minutes and help educate them of what to say, because we don't want to fail the client, just like you don't want to fail the client, because we want to give them an answer to that solution. When they say, "Mama has a house," instead of deer in headlights, I would like to feel educated and go, well, you know, I tell you that is something that I know a little about, but here's who we use.
Yeah, we can give them hope. I mean, we can give them hope, and we can.
You said the key word, because it's scary. It's now in my life, I'm looking at it, and it was funny because, you know, I did this, and I'm not saying that I turned like a robot, because I genuinely care about every resident that I've ever had. But when I was younger doing it, it did feel, now that I look back, it was more robotic. Now, I think I see things a little deeper because I am older, and I'm watching these things in my own life, and I'm having to start to deal with it.
Yeah.
So I feel the pain, or I have felt the pain. So now if I can help take that away a little bit from a client and say, look, I know you're scared to death, but there are sharks. There are predators. And I'm glad you brought that up. I want to spend a little time on that, because not just your industry, because I see all these things, you know, house for rent, awesome, send deposit to cash out.
Yeah, scammers.
It's gone.
Ridiculous.
It's gone. But it's now in every industry. The economy's got really, I mean, you know me, hobby with watches. Oh, you have to be careful. Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. My mother, I don't know why she wanted the Dyson all of a sudden, but had got a text. Well, it was a scam. But she did it twice because thought the first one didn't go through. You know, something like that. And that's our job, to protect that.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, you know, obviously I talked about the integrity, dignity coming in, because you guys, you're out of Spartanburg, is where you're based out of, but you work. I see.
Yeah, Greenville, Spartanburg. I mean,
your listings are awesome.
Yeah,
I see them
we're
everywhere.
all over the place.
But how long have you been in Spartanburg now?
Let's see. I've been since December of 2010 is when I moved to Spartanburg. So I guess we're 13 years.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's a long time.
Yeah.
But you've done a good job, and I say this not butt kissing. I'm just being honest. I think the person that you naturally are, you don't change when it comes time to go to work. I don't think you have a start and stop clock. I agree. No, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure your wife was here. He never stops.
I try to think back, because there's people that come in and out of this real estate business. There's a lot of turnover there, and
everybody wants to be a real estate
agent.
A
lot of folks, you know, they just have a misconception, and it's obvious now after being in the business for 12 years. Number one, it's a business. Number two, it's customer service. You have to perform.
Yeah.
And you have to be genuine.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, just like we're talking about with these sharks and scammers, there's unfortunately a lot of people that aren't very genuine.
No.
And they get shuffled out pretty quick. But
they do. But they can do devastation before they get shuffled out quickly.
Yeah, right. So, you know, there's just some things just to look out for. I would say if somebody calls you on the phone and offers to buy your house with cash and as is, you're probably going to get 40 to 50% of what it's really worth.
Wow. Yeah, you know, if somebody was that interested, now, you know, I've always had the dream, you know, you drove by these houses, you know, growing up or in your 20s and stuff, and you're looking at those houses and they're amazing. And you say to yourself, one day I'm just going to walk up on that guy's porch and like knock on the door. Now, that's probably been done before. You probably have had clients call you on something that wasn't for sale and could entice the person to sell. You know, money talks.
Yeah, sure.
But with our clientele, I think as executive directors of communities, we don't really pay attention, to be quite honest with you, since it's not our industry, of how the market works. And just like you said, it would be, even there's apps that make it seem like it's so easy to sell your own home. Do it yourself. Sure. Save yourself that commission or whatever. Even those will essentially cost you a lot of money that you could have gotten, because not knowing the industry, and you know, you're in healthcare, and let's say, you know, you're raising a family, you're not looking to buy a house right now. I'm not versed in this, that you have to look at every single day. You look at interest rates from financial institutions all the way to new industry coming into towns. I mean, everything gauges into what a value of that house is worth. And, if you got somebody extra 10,000,
yeah,
you got to think that could very possibly be 6 more additional months of good health care for them. So that's just why I'm in the second act. What we're doing is just so important because we're not experts, but now with the financial situation, the climate of the climate of the current economy, I guess is how we gently say it.
And the way the world's working now,
it's real difficult to find honest people.
Yeah,
and with the community knowing that, listen, at the most desperate time of somebody's world at that moment, to hand them a card of somebody that is an expert, that in itself shows a lot of, I guess, to the client, our client, that we will mutually share. It shows that, okay, they're prepared. They're seeing they're not looking through cloudy glasses like I am right now. And here I am calling a reputable firm. Now, I do want to talk about this because you started out, it was you.
Yeah, it was just me, and it was
work,
great. It was great. I worked a lot. I loved it. I still do.
You work in fish.
I love
That's sort of the deal.
I love this business.
But you had to expand. You had to grow because it got a little much for you.
Yeah, so we brought on some folks, and we have three agents, licensed real estate agents. One that's actually licensed in North Carolina as well now. So, being so close to the border.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We can help folks in North Carolina as well. So, but 3 agents, 2 other full-time back office support folks that help us get transactions from contract to closing,
right?
And to provide that service. We want to provide service to where we can look at ourselves in the mirror and say we did a good job,
right?
And what that'll turn into is, obviously repeat business and referrals. So that, that's what we've been really driven off of the last couple of years is, folks, we've done a good job. They've called us or texted us and said, hey, will you talk to my aunt or my uncle or my sister or brother or my neighbor, and
That's
then
true.
we go out and help them. So,
well, what I love about it too is watching it because, with social media, I can gauge and watch people that I know and what they're doing in their businesses and their world. But honestly, you get, you do something wrong in our industries, regardless, any industry, doesn't matter. That's like wildfire.
Yeah.
When you do something right, for a long time, the only person that feels good about it is you because you can look at yourself in the mirror and know you did right.
Yeah.
You did the best you could. But what's happened with you, that's incredible because if the EDs that are watching this need to go to your website, which we'll put up because I went back and the other week just randomly because it comes up because you post them, which I think is great because you need to post the positive.
Right.
But I just started looking through them. I don't know when the last time you just went back and looked through for your first one that you posted, kind of just reading what your clients have wrote. You probably haven't done it in a long time, have you?
No, that's a good idea though. Yeah. Maybe when the time changes and it gets dark at 6 p.m., I'll have some more time.
You might have some. No, you still have a young kid at home.
That's
you
right.
ain't got time. But the constant, if you go back and look through, I always look through when I'm reading these to see what's similar of each. These people that don't know each other have never talked to each other. There were different times and space in the world, but they're all putting something somewhere the same. The words may be a little differently, but they're putting the same thing. And they're just talking about friendly. And I think the other word that I came up with, that everybody had in common was advice and patience and time. A lot of that. John took the time to. It's a constant. Yeah. And you can't go back and say, okay, without realizing how much real time in your life have you put into those people saying that? Because we know it's not a 3-hour transaction like buying a car would be. Right. This is days, years.
Yeah.
I mean, you're building not gardens, but what's the fruit trees and all that? Orchards.
Orchards. Right?
Yeah. So it's just but it's just working. But I wanted to see the constant because I've seen some reviews about myself or communities, and most of them I try to make always great.
Sure.
There's always a person that hates me.
Yeah.
And that's okay because that means I'm doing something right. Because even the haters giving me attention you're watching.
Yeah, that's true.
Or you're listening.
Yeah.
So, and it's okay to disagree too. But the turnaround time, that's where I feel that you, with your expertise and certainly a team of folks,
Sure,
can really help. Because one thing I do know about you that EDs need to know is a lot of times in a situation like that, you may already have a buyer.
Yeah, we could.
And that's pretty amazing. Because
we've been able to help a lot of people get multiple offers, get them out of the house without having to do any repairs.
Right.
Making it very, very efficient for that seller, but still getting top dollar. And that's what makes me really smile.
It's
and
awesome.
that gives me so much just fulfillment of my job is when I know, hey, we've put your property on the market. We've gotten you 3, 4, 5 offers in a short amount of time, and you don't have to do anything except move out.
And maybe swing by the attorney's office.
That's right.
Yeah.
And and we what I like too is negotiating the terms for that seller that works best for them. It might be they need 90 days or they need 60 days or they may want to get out in 2 weeks or they may have already moved out and they're ready to sell it in 2 days, if the attorney can get it done. So those are the key things that we like to make sure for our clients, hey, what do you really want? And how can we help you get that? And we focus on that so much. And that's what, at the end of the day, if you say, we need to sell this house, but we need 30 days to get all our stuff out of here after we get the money,
I just need a couple of years.
But and like I said at the beginning of this, every client is unique and their needs are unique. And that's what we try to learn quickly what they really need.
And that's why I got you here.
Yeah, thanks.
Because I know. So fun questions, just as I was thinking, because this is not something we know, but we're curious.
Yeah.
Those of us that aren't in real estate. I would say, I won't take you back far. Let's say 24 months.
Okay.
In your industry, you specific, because I'd say there's the industry and there's you. There's and a lot of people will agree with me with this. So it's not an unfair statement, but people financing versus cash buyers, what's that? Is that somebody asked me that the other day.
I wish I had a factual statement.
Is it half and half, or are we talking about something different?
No, it's probably 90-20, 90% finance.
Okay. I was just wondering because
it's a much higher financing portion of buyers now.
See, my wife has it completely different in her head.
Okay.
The way she talks, and she's going to see this, and I look at the main. Do not get mad. It's just in her mind, we ride by these beautiful homes because I still enjoy doing this to this day. I love looking at what people like.
Yeah.
And everybody's eye captures something different, which is
Right.
interesting. And she'll make this comment. I don't know why she likes to say this, but these houses are high. I mean, I'd say we like riding through, and some of them can be over $1 million home. And that's not hard today.
Right. Especially in Greenville.
Look how quick they moved in. I just know. How did they just have that cash laying around? And I have to go, listen, I can assure you they didn't. Yeah. They had a great relationship with their bank, but that's financed. And because there's many other reasons they wouldn't spend that $1 million cash when they can put it somewhere and invest it and maybe get a little bit better of an interest rate with the bank. Because everybody's so concerned about interest rate. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand it's a thing. And I understand people want 0.5%.
Yeah.
I get that. But I also looked at a little fact here too. History, regardless of when you bought 20 years ago or 23 years ago, they were different. At days different.
Right.
Look at the value of their property today.
Right. Much
Are they
higher.
really concerned now? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You've got to understand that it is one of your largest investments that you'll ever have, but it's an investment. I think people get emotionally hurt when they see it at first and stuff, and I get that, but I believe it has to now purchasing a home has to also equal heart, equal understanding of long-term investment. Because let me explain. You're not necessarily always going to love a master upstairs.
Mm-hmm. True.
I wouldn't, unless I could get that little chair they put in, but then would have had to deal with a whole nother thing, But it served them well,
Right.
but if they can see, oh my gosh, our house has been paid off 30 years, 20 years. And me not being an expert or talking to people, I'm like, once you speak to somebody, you may be shocked at what you have.
That's right.
So how's that feeling when you really, like, the person you saved the money?
Yeah.
You made them an extra $100,000.
Yeah. I have another one.
There's probably no words they could give you.
There's a bunch of them out there. I mean, especially in the last 3 years, just the values of our homes here in the upstate of South Carolina just skyrocketed. And I've met with, so I put about 100 to 150 properties on the market per year. And I met with, I don't know, 50 at least people in the last 3 years where they're like, there's no way you're going to sell this property or our house for that money. And I said, well, I know I can.
Yeah, right.
And I've had a couple instances where it even shocked me.
Right.
Because of the way the market is. The secret's out. This is like the best place to live in the world. So there's so many people coming here. It's still very affordable to live here. Our taxes are great and low. We get 4 seasons. People are nice. It's a great place to live, and you're definitely right. Most people don't understand the real value of their property.
They don't. The couple of things that I see, because what happens is with this growth, and this is after speaking. I've had conversations with Mayor of Greer about this, and different people that are watching their infrastructure. I mean, they're already ahead, and they're planning 10, 12 years. I mean, to try to make this. Simpsonville was the funniest thing in the world. As soon as they finished paving the road, the infrastructure was already outdated. It was just, I was sitting there laughing about the situation. Yeah. But the wonderful part about it is too, and there is another side, and I understand where this is coming from. I was looking at some news articles about some new growth coming to Greenville. One of them looked cool, and for some reason, I thought, because me and you we've ate some cool places.
That's right.
At lunch together.
Yeah.
So there was a new, and I don't know what it's called, I don't know what the building's going to be, but I do know that it's $1 billion building coming to Greenville.
Oh, I've heard about this, yes.
But where I thought about you and I is, when you walk through the front doors, you know what the first thing is? A fish restaurant.
Oh, really?
I said,
perfect.
We're done.
We're good.
But what I started reading was what, and I think this is our local news channel. I think YFF4 had posted this, and I guess to get reaction and feedback to see what people think. And I was honestly shocked at the negative response that people have, because
too much growth. Yeah.
Well, I heard too much. What happened to our little Greenville? That was sort of a lot. Another thing, and I feel, because I understand the point of view on this, but we have to look at both sides. They're pricing us out of our town.
That's happening.
And I agreed when I read it, because I felt it, because I try to stay neutral on every side. But then I'll tell you where I changed my mind a little on this, more toward the development is good. And this is not me pleading my case, it's just only my thought. So I know people are going to be like, don't go to that side. But Lori and I, which Lori, my wife, we did something really interesting that have never done before. And so I'll just say it. I recommend this. And now everybody's going to get my honey hole to realize. But so the Hyatt Regency downtown, okay, been there forever. But now it's an interesting concept, because it's been beautifully remodeled. I don't know the last time you've been in there.
Is that the one with Roost?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we stayed there, I think, in 19 for Tanya's birthday. We we got the room that has like a triangle.
Okay,
we stayed there. It was awesome.
Okay, panoramic suite.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where we got to.
Okay, but it's like a funky design.
You're sitting in the den. If you look to your right, you're basically looking at Main Street, and then if you look to sort of the center and your left is Beatty.
And is the room like a pie?
It's the den, and
it goes back to a point,
is
and
a
there's
pie.
Windows on either side.
And then as you walk back up toward the door you came in, it has the private bedroom, and then the bathroom with the sliding door.
Yeah, we stayed in the same place.
Okay, so this change. Okay, so we think alike.
Yeah,
I had a great time. Roost knows my name now. So shout out to Roost.
I think it's a great place.
But let me tell you where it changed my mind. So this was interesting, because I guess light bulb moment, but it was good for me to have. So I'm a people watcher. I love watching what people are doing. But I don't love all that walking that they're doing now. I did it one time. Literally, I can remember parking when it was before it was bond secure. It's the Bilo Center, and I remember I didn't care what parking garage, as long as it was the cheapest. I'd walk 700 miles as long. $3 versus 25. Okay, now I'm like valet it. I don't care because I don't want to walk that distance. But selfishly, that's due to a series of events and age and everything, right? But I was in that panoramic room, okay, and really the only reason we went was just because we wanted to get away. Yeah. I know Lori needed that space, and sometimes it's just a good thing to do. Mm-hmm. But I'm sitting here, and at this point, not to sound bad, but I'm like, oh, do whatever you want, because I'm sitting here looking. I'm watching because it was still daylight, so I couldn't wait for it to go dark to see all this. But I started watching the people, and they were younger people. And when I say younger, 20s and 30s. Yeah. But they were doing the same thing that we used to do. Walk everywhere, holding hands, going in and out of everything. And then I thought, it just clicked, and I said, you know what? I was happy for them. I really was. I said, you know what? I'm used to seeing what's on Main Street. Right. And it's still, I like to see the skyline get awesome as I'm coming to Greenville. I mean, that looks good. But imagine seeing it through their eyes, because they're the young professionals. Mm-hmm. They know that high dollar rent that they're paying or high dollar mortgage, it's hard on them too. Mm-hmm. Just like it was for the people in small Greenville 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. But they're willing to make that investment for what they're getting. I mean,
good point.
And so it really brought me from thinking, man, yeah, they're making Greenville too big, or whatever city, name it here. I guess many people feel this way, to thinking, I had my fun. I mean, there's still plenty for me to do. Greenville, I mean, we have Uber. I mean, I don't have to go 700 miles, but there's smiles on their face.
Yeah, it's a great place.
They were genuinely happy just to be out and about and doing stuff. Mm-hmm. And I said to myself, we can't stop that. Yeah. I wouldn't want to stop that for my kids. I know you wouldn't want to stop it for yours. Yeah. Because, you get the privilege, because you still have a youngster in the house that when you go to different trips and do things, you get to see new experiences for her.
Sure.
And you got to admit, that's been pretty cool.
It's been awesome. And we love, we go to the Greenville Drive games, 2 or 3 a year. We go to the Swamp Rabbits hockey games, same thing, 2 or 3 a year. And
we'll the Children's Museum. Yeah, remember that?
We used to go to that when Anna was like 3, 4, and 5.
Look, I used to.
They were down there. They had like a yearly pass to go to that thing.
Look, I self-admittedly, the space shuttle you got to land.
Great place.
You remember the space shuttle you got to land?
No. Wait. Yeah, we did that. Yep.
Yeah, I used to push the kids out of the way and do it. It was awesome because I was like, this is difficult for an adult.
That's a good place.
So when I saw this, and this was only 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But in that room, like I said, that room was cool.
Good room.
But it made me just realize that, no, you know what? I'm in the second act, which is fine. Mm-hmm. That's completely what and I'm going to be that advocate for the long-term health care for the aging adult. I'm going to make sure that their world is the best it can be. But I can't forget, and I did, a 25-year-old person's working real hard too.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Harder than I'm using my brain now. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much I could carry and be able to shed myself.
Sure.
But they are. Mm. And are we, with that talk, and it's not negative or positive, but I think if people would maybe stop for a minute and see it from their eyes, mm-hmm. Not that it would change their feeling about their sweet town, because I understand they love it, and their memories are of that. Yeah. But there's these people that are creating these new memories now.
Oh my gosh!
Because these parks are full.
Man, it's I love seeing the. I was just in Verde, just right up the road here. That community and what they're doing. They're not even finished with it.
No.
But
are you talking about the one off Rocky Slope?
Right. Yes. So yeah. I was in there, and I was showing some folks townhomes in there. Mm-hmm. These are beautiful. Beautiful townhomes, and everything's walking distance. You don't have to leave Verde.
I frequent
you
coffee
go
shop.
to coffee shop. You got restaurants. You got banks. You got doctors' offices. It's a planned community, and it's right in Greenville, right off of Pelham Road.
It's awesome.
And Woodruff Road. Woodruff Road.
Yeah.
So you got. To me, like that, and I was there in the evening. So I think I met my clients there around 4:30. We stayed till like 6. We looked at like 3 places. I went to leave to go home, and there's people out walking their dogs. All the kids are riding bikes, and I'm like, this is awesome. This is
awesome.
really cool. So some folks are going to feel like, it's getting overbuilt, and I can totally get that.
Me too. I see it from both sides.
But gosh, man, what's being created and the quality of life. It's amazing, and we have this awesome.
It's better than it was for me.
I don't mean to say little. We have this awesome airport too. So, if you need to get out of town or you have family coming to visit, it's so convenient. It's very efficient. It's not like you got to wait 3 hours to get in and out of it. It's awesome. So.
Well, and even better than the international airport for fun. This blows my mind. I don't know if you've done this, but the Hangar.
I've heard of it.
It's a restaurant.
Yeah.
Burgers. It's our style. Burgers, fries.
Yeah.
They even, matter of fact, they were on TV on Food Network of Redo.
Oh, really?
Where the chef came into
cool.
this. But even cooler than that, so I had Trey Whitehurst. You may know Trey, but he's a guest on here a lot. Technology, things of that nature. Me and him were having a meeting, and he's like, hey, just meet me over here. And I'm like, okay, and it's been forever since I've been out there. And it's the smaller planes and everything.
That's the downtown airport.
Airport.
Yes.
So the restaurant's cool, and it's looking out at all the planes there and the ones that are taxed in and taken off there right in front of your face.
Great entertainment.
But to the right is this huge children's playground.
Yeah, Tanya would take Anna there.
And it's always packed.
Yeah.
So the kids are out there playing and watching planes take off. That's cool.
So
if I was a kid, I'd have been like, Mom,
wanna go there?
You did a 10 on this one. But there's so much. Our area is just, they've done it well. Whoever's planning it really has put thought. Top Golf, that changed the world. Yeah. That was awesome. Yeah. But, and so when people do look on the map, and I circle this back to our conversation, Greenville ranks like 1. Usually.
Very high.
Always high.
Very high.
So with them coming in.
Greer, Greenville, Spartanburg, they're all in the top 10 places.
Right. And they are paying a lot of money. So that leads me to know the type of service for their mom and dad that they're going to be expecting. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have to be aware of your surroundings because if a person works all day, which most do, I don't know many that don't.
Right.
They're professional at what they do. Like that neighborhood we're talking about right off Rocky Slope. That's the coolest.
Great
it reminds me of Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, it reminded me of Celebration in Florida. I don't know if you've been there.
Yes.
But Celebration was built for Disney employees. And it is you don't have to leave. Mm-mm. They got their own little town center. They have a golf course,
that was what I liked.
And the pool over here at this Verde isn't even done. So they're not finished over there. No. And if you want to make an investment, buy somewhere in Verde. Yeah. I'm telling you, in 5 years, you're going to be like, thank you.
Yeah. It's a snapshot of what I would consider America now. Like, postcards of the way, like the 50s and all.
Yeah.
The colors they've stole from Charleston, some of them. But it's the mix of everything. And, I know with that's exciting because that does bring the economy. It stabilizes things for a longer future. When somebody buys a home in that area or anywhere and they're setting ground there, there's another person that's going to be investing in everything. Food, gas, local shop, everything.
Everything, right.
So you have to appreciate those because, unfortunately, I've also read the paper with the negatives of things that have had to close. And it was because maybe it had outdated itself.
Right. Yeah.
And so, you want to be careful with that. But they're wanting to come here. So mom and dad, aunt, uncles, loved ones are coming here. So I'm just really trying to help our EDs, our regional directors, our owners. We have investment firms now that own 10, 12 communities within the state at a time. Wow. And so and they know the value of having partners that can really come in and do something, because everything's a business. Everything at the end of the day, unfortunately, does come down to money, even your health care. The people that are doing it, they're not thinking about their paycheck while they're helping you. I promise you that. I know that out of a lifetime. Your wife, a lifetime of service.
Yeah, I mean, it's calling.
I promise you, there's not a time that I was ever given medicine that I went to check my bank account.
Right.
That was a whole different thing. But the expectation now, we're meeting both ways. And I say this because you have to understand, you want to place your mom and dad the very best. Yeah. Because, you love your parents just as I've loved my parents, and I hope my boys love me the same. But when we go into a situation that we have to put them or give them something, there's two sets of eyes looking at it. There's yours as the child, possibly the payee. There's theirs, and there's reality. You're looking for the chandelier, the paint. Well, look at that iron railing versus wood on the stair. I know this is what we look at and think that our parents want. But the deep care, like, how long have these staff members been here? Do they like their job here? Is the pharmacy awesome? They are. Wow, let's look at the tubs, things that we won't see. Wow, they got that open tubs. Mom hadn't been in the tub in so long, she'll love this. Things that cater to mom, dad, whoever. That's where we have to go real estate. We have to be like, I think what you're looking at won't help them. It's nice, but let's see if it helps them
what
first.
They really need. Right.
And then everything else is a bonus. But it's just got so complicated now. I can tell you, I've spoke with so many just off record of sales folks, that marketers, they call them in these communities. Yeah. They work with the hospital, they work with social services, they work with everybody. It's got difficult. And the only thing that really is the problem is trying to either find do they have money, do they have these policies, or get someone that will come in and truly help, and not try to say, well, you know what, no need to look at it, I'll just buy it.
No, yeah.
And because we don't need that to flood the communities either.
No, and I would say, as we spoke about folks saying that real estate prices have gone up so high that's pricing people out, I would assume the same things happened already with this health care. We're talking about it right
people
now.
People use the word gentrification.
It's very difficult to hear.
But that's happened since the beginning of time. Yeah.
It's hard to hear, though, for the everyday person can't afford it. So then what? So if they can't afford it, what happens?
Right. There was a lesson told to me, and I'd love to give credit to who said it to me, but I just don't remember. But they put it this way. If you're a baseball fan, or if you know of baseball, you see the contracts that these players are making today. I forget now who it was, Noah Nate, and they tell me, but one time $385 million 5 years, something like that. It's a lot of money. They're a good player, but I can't remember their name. But Mickey Mantle, I know the name right off, right? Mickey was awesome. Go back and look at his stats. Look at Mickey's paychecks. They were more than the average, say, professional person was making, but not much more, because these guys in off season had jobs.
So it's just a different world. Obviously.
It's a different world. So you put them together, say Mickey and the new person, and I'm glad that new person got that contract, because he's bringing in people to the stadium. There's merchandise being sold off this person's name. So there's a lot. But should this person, they bought this house a long time ago, and I'm sure at Mickey's house, I just use him as an example, it was a nice home for the time. He kept it over time. It added value. Well, of course, it's not what the $385 million contract house is going to buy. But you know what? Mickey didn't need the house that he had because it was luxurious to him at the time. He's got to sell it. He's amazed what he put in. There's always an up, but there's always going to be every year someone making a little more, someone wanting to change something. The world is very different and in many other ways. We could, I could go off and it not make sense. It still doesn't to me. But the basic principles are the same. you've got to grow to survive.
Amen. Mm-hmm.
I look at town of Williamston.
Mm-hmm.
Now I love Williamston. It's a great town. Grew up there, and I keep saying this because I know there's a lot of need, because there's like 4 areas that kind of come right into Williamston, 4 other towns that feed right into this, and long-term health care and additional even doctor's offices would be, they are needed there. Mm-hmm. Now, the mayor of that town does a great job, so nothing against this person. He works hard. But they've been lacking a grocery store. When Winn-Dixie shut it down,
that's hard to hear.
Nobody came in. Now, apparently the contracts have been signed, but that was 2 years ago with a large chain, but I haven't seen anything happen. Wow. But see, that's keeping people sort of not happening, but the need for care is there. So some people would be like, well, we just like to drive to Pell's. Or no, but you know what? You put a grocery store in, new people real estate prices go up. Yeah. People will want to move. You got to give and incentivize.
Well, what's happening in Anderson, and what's happening in Easley?
Yeah,
Williamston's probably next.
Probably.
There's really, the growth is so fast right now.
It really is.
And even with interest rates at 7% today for a 30-year mortgage.
But you know what? That's not even as high as it's been back in the day.
Right. So folks that look at the history of mortgage rates, interest rates,
my parents paid 13.5%.
would know that 7% is not that high. It's not bad at all.
No.
There's many professionals in the mortgage industry and real estate industry that have been around for 30, 40, 50 years, and they're like 7%. When we got under 10, we thought we'd never see anything lower. Right. They were doing jumping jacks, and they were high-fiving and saying, "Oh my gosh, we'll never see this again." And so it's 7 now. It's still not bad, but it's just it happened so fast. But Williamston, Gray Court, like these smaller towns outside of 385 and 85. It's just a matter of time before they become a little bit more developed.
They're cool places.
But and I love those small towns. I love small town America.
Me too.
That's why people ask me, why don't you move to Greenville? Well, I'm 20 minutes to downtown Greenville. Yeah. I live in Greenville. I'm from the D.C. area. 20 minutes by car is nothing. That's like going 5 or 10 blocks sometimes. So, I consider myself. I live in the Greenville area.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I live in Moore, which is sort of in between. It's really close to Spartanburg, but it's pretty much in between Spartanburg and Greenville. But it's just the way things are growing. There's opportunity here, and if you're in your 20s. Or even if you're a teenager, you've got it lined up here, for jobs, for things to do, raising your family. It's just, I think it's a really good spot to be in. I think it will be for a long, long time.
I thought about this exact same thing that you said, and I just put myself back in a situation. And if I was in my early 20s and I lived not here, anywhere else in the United States, and I really did some looking and studying about economic growth, and like you talked about earlier, with property taxes and just everything else. Even annual lawn care service, the cost is awesome, right? Compared to, because I got friends that live everywhere. They're like, "You pay what?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm serious." And they're like, "Wow, it's amazing." So, but all that's here, including health care. That's amazing.
I've talked to a lot of folks that have moved here, and they ask, what's the healthcare like? What's the healthcare? So I'm able to say that because I know not only you, but I have a lot of other friends through my wife that are in the healthcare business. If you are I don't know, what are we going to call folks that need this healthcare? Is it the older generation? I don't know. The third act? Is it third act?
Our aging adults.
Aging adults.
They're still in the
living here. I'm telling you, even there's a lot of aging adult veterans, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of folks are moving here too, and this is something everybody needs to know. If you don't, your income as a veteran is not taxed in South Carolina. No income tax.
A lot of people do
I think it's so awesome.
Another thing that's awesome about the veterans, to throw this in real quick, so talk about the health care. three. I know three in my head. I mean, I'm sure there's more of the VA doctors' offices are awesome.
Yeah,
they're all new. They're all huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's if you can't make it here now with so much in your 20s,
right?
I mean, I don't know where else
You're
are
not
you
trying.
going to
You're
but you can come here. But the healthcare, what I was going to say about this is, I was having a meeting with the CEO of a large provider in our area, and we're talking about large provider, and it used to be that they had to recruit the best physicians for specialty physicians, right? They're not recruiting anymore. The best physicians are calling. They want this lifestyle.
Yeah.
They want what we can offer. Mm-hmm. And, honestly, when you start doing that, people look, oh, here we go, prices. Nope. The more that you bring in, puts competition, even for healthcare.
That's right.
And then it not only gives you better quality of care when you get competition. If I didn't have competition, I was the only person, I wouldn't fight as hard because I know that they have to come to me. But just within 20 miles of us right now, we have 3 health centers that, let's say, an expecting mother can literally go tour and choose from to see what fits them best. And could even talk with business office and already pre-run everything now, which we didn't have this, and already have your bill up front. So and guess what? They're not the same. So they'll look at quality, just like shopping for a car or home.
Right.
That's how we've built the Upstate. I'm going to say not even Green, it's the Upstate. So there's the best, there's choice, prices are reasonable. I know they seem high because they did jump high for us because we're country people. It's
the prices
30%
went a lot. I mean, went up a lot.
But
compared to the rest of the country, we're still very, very reasonably priced, and the cost of living here. I'll go and show homes to some folks from different parts of the country, and they ask me what their annual real estate taxes are, and I'll tell them, and they'll think that's for the quarter.
Yeah.
When it's for the year.
Yeah.
And they're just blown away.
Are you serious? I mean, yeah.
And I have to show them. I have to pull out my iPad and go to, here's the tax records. It's right here. This is what they paid last year. And they're just and then when I tell them, if you're an aging adult, so 65 or older,
right,
you live in South Carolina, you have to live in South Carolina for 1 year before you apply for what's called the homestead exemption.
Very familiar with this.
Cuts
Absolutely.
Their taxes in half.
Absolutely.
My parents live in a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house, 2-car garage, perfect for them. 1 level, close to the YMCA, close to shopping, close to 85. Mm-hmm. They pay $750 a year in taxes.
I was going to say
real estate. That's their real estate tax.
That's the same as my mom.
Because they get the homestead exemption.
Absolutely.
And they tell their friends from Virginia, where I'm from, and they're like, "What? What are you talking about?" Or my mom's siblings that are from the Northeast, and they're like, "We're paying $20,000 a year." Yeah. So it's a wonderful, it's a great place, and it's just that we could just keep going on and on and on of the reasons, but for the aging adult, these are things that they need to know.
Well, and the biggest thing I wanted to get from this, and like you said, we could really take a topic and go days with each topic because they're all important, but like I said, more for the administrators, the executive directors of our long-term healthcare facilities, our skilled nursing facilities. Since we're having the growth has caused a quicker influx. We can't keep up with the demand, and we knew this was coming. The baby boomer too. Yeah. We knew this, but we didn't all necessarily count on the Upstate being the place.
Yeah.
So that really hit the top. So what I'd say from the beginning. Then I'll ask you a final question.
All right.
This is always a good one. But definitely, if you're within a community, reach out to the Fravel Group, your team, John, anybody from his team. Go ahead and establish the relationship with you first.
Yeah.
Just because you're being hit with those questions a lot, and you're not licensed as a real estate agent. We have our own license that's hard enough to deal with. But we want to be able to provide a quick, effective answer for them at their most
vulnerable time.
Vulnerable moment. And with that card, we know that we're handing over quality, strength, customer service, everything, because when we hand that card, it's a direct reflection of us. So we want to ensure that, and that's why it's important. But so I'm going to put everything.
Well, thank you. I want to help however I can. So
and
you
I
guys
know,
call me, text me, whatever.
And I know that you will.
I'll be ready to help.
But the final question, if you think back, and I don't know if you thought about this or not, and maybe your wife has made you think about this, but do you think you were born to do what you do now?
That's a great question.
When you're 18, oh yeah, that's great. At 18, you probably had thought about what you want to do.
I was born to do what I do today.
Yeah.
So I think from it's definitely in my makeup to be a servant.
Mm-hmm. Servant's heart.
I mean, I get that. My previous employment and profession was managing a golf course, a public golf course.
Right.
And it was so fulfilling for me to, when I was teaching golf, to watch people improve in their golf game, because you can see it in their face. Like when they've learned, okay, I can do this, or golf is so hard, but when they hit that perfect shot, you see it and they're like, whoa, that felt great. And, they can repeat that every once in a while.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And so that brought me a lot of fulfillment. It's the same thing when I'm helping people buy and sell real estate or not. Cause I've told a lot of people, look, you need to hold tight. Now if you're my brother, you need to just hold tight.
Right.
Let's talk about this in a year.
Right.
Was I born for it, man? That's a tough question. I would say that I was definitely born to be some type of a helper. I love to help people get where they want to be.
Right. That self gratification.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I thrive off the same thing. I get it.
I mean, I don't know if I was born for that or was born into me. I mean, my dad was a plumber. He did repair plumbing. Started out in commercial. It didn't work for him there, so he had his own little small business. It was just him. Him and my mom would sort of run the books for him, and he would go out. And I remember him coming in, and just you could tell he worked hard, very laborious job, and he grinded it out, but he was fulfilled when he helped that widowed lady, not get just bombarded by some stupid, crazy bill.
Right.
Or he would go in behind people when they said, oh, the last person said I needed a brand new hot water heater. He's like, no, they needed I don't know, there's a piece to the water heater. It was like an electrical piece. Element or whatever.
Yeah.
And instead of being $800, it was $150. So I think that was sort of ingrained in me. So thank you, Dad, for doing that.
That's what I was about to say. You
and I know his parents were like that too, and my mom's side. So it's just, I think it was born into me a little bit of just
watching
having it. Yeah. So thank you for that. But
I'm sure he's probably cool now though, because I'm sure he looks at you now and he's like, yeah.
And my parents, they're awesome, man. They moved down. They retired here.
Yeah.
Or they retired and then they moved here. They've been here about 2.5 years, and they help me in our business, so they're part of the team.
Cool. Okay.
They will help me with signs and lock boxes and stuff, and they love it because they're still getting to know the area.
Oh yeah.
And so I'll be like, hey, I we just closed on this house over in wherever, Easley or Chesney or whatever, all over the place.
Right.
And they'll schedule their whole day around that. They go to the Y in the morning, and then they'll go to lunch around whatever house they're going to pick this sign up for me.
That's awesome.
So it's cool. It's really cool for them to get to know the areas.
Well, I like to look at the pictures. I know that your dad likes to fish too.
Yeah, he does.
And you're out there a lot. So probably if you had to do another career after this, I'd say fisherman. I could see you traveling with the trailer, the big SUV. Everybody tucked it. You wouldn't need nothing. All you need is a hat and like a.
I don't need much.
No, you provide a lot for the people you love, but give you a camper. I mean, not even that. Sleeping bag, maybe.
Yeah, well,
and a fishing rod.
I'm a little bit of a. I like heating. I like air conditioning a lot.
Oh, if I could find oh yeah, look,
air conditioning and some heat in the winter. But
I'll finish up.
It's funny, like as we do get a little older, things change. Like I used to not get cold.
No.
Like it'd be 45 degrees. I could be jeans and a hoodie. I'm fine.
Oh,
Fit on the fishing. Fishing.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's like I got to have 3 layers, Gore-Tex, Thinsulate socks.
Yeah. I had to put on my back brace. I was telling Lori this morning coming here, I was like, I'm gonna be like the Bionic Man, because I was even thinking about putting on a knee brace, a back brace, everything
All the
to
braces.
keep it working. Right. But the funny part about it is, I guess in the reality, in the long scheme of things, is I just had fun doing it. Yeah. I mean, enjoying everything that I do. Now, I wouldn't go camping now, because I've realized, why would I want to go and spend a week pretending I'm homeless?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't that makes no sense. I get if the people need to explain that to me more, or maybe I missed something during the day. So now I'd go in one of these killer bus type with the kitchen stuff that folds out. I mean,
you can go outside if you want.
Call it what you want to call it, but I'd be in there. But
Thank you.
I appreciate you being on.
Thanks for having me.
Definitely, I recommend any ED community you're coming on, reach out to John.
Yeah, and I'd come out to you. I mean, if you want to set up a time, I'd love to just swing by, maybe take 20, 30 minutes, present to you, how we can help you. If you have questions, be glad to answer them.
All right.
So,
and that way you and your community guys can feel confident knowing that the reputation of your community is safe with John. And that's the biggest thing here. But so, once again, appreciate it.
Man,
I know that you're busy. Guys, until next week, we'll have another awesome guest, hopefully bring you some good information. But until then, thank you for watching, and God bless.